Good morning, everyone. I hope that you're doing well. We're coming to you today, talking to you about real estate. So this is Spencer Hawks, and here with my teammate Uri. So Uri, you want to say hello to everybody and again introduce yourself? I know you're still new to all of our YouTubes and podcasts. So
yes, sir. Hey, well, thank you for having me again. My name is Uriel. Just recorded a video actually yesterday, so that was really cool, and it's really cool to be able to be a part of this.
And I literally just threw you into that video yesterday. Yeah. You probably weren't even planning on doing that.
Not at all.
So heads up, folks. You get around me, and we're going to be doing all sorts of fun things. So you never know what you're going to get into. Now, what I like about this podcast and the timing is we're going to be talking about buyers and open houses. I think that's going to be a huge focus of what we're looking at today. And why I like that is, what did you do this past Sunday?
Well, I hosted an open house, actually, my very first one. So
it's so timely. So as we go through this, I may volley some of this back and forth to you, just kind of see, what was your perception? Because you see all these buyers here, and what were your thoughts as you saw some of these buyers and folks coming into an open house?
It was interesting because, first, whenever I got there, I actually hosted with another agent here with Gabe. Actually, so we kind of did a walkthrough ourselves, and it was great because the stuff that we were kind of talking amongst me and him about the house, little notes that we were taking, we were hearing it from everybody else too. So we had many questions about the property, and it was just great. It was just a great experience to be able to see everybody coming in and just kind of getting to meet new people and yeah, just be there to answer any questions that they had and know that you're helping them, in the process.
So, and we're going to look at that in a little bit, like the importance of these folks and having good conversations with solid agents like you and Gabe. So, as people go into an open house, I think that they realize how important it is that they get to walk through these houses, that they open themselves up as, in the home buying process to see just different elements of a house. A lot of times people don't do this, like we're always in and out of our friends and family members' homes. But when we're looking for a home, there may be certain aspects that we have, and one thing that I want to highlight is a checklist. Folks, as you are looking for your home or an investment property, whatever it may be, have a checklist of what you're looking for. And as you're going through that home, what you want to do is you're going to say, this is on my checklist, off my checklist. It's not, important to me. But what you're probably going to find as you open yourselves up to new homes during these open houses is there are things that are not on your checklist that you're going to say, wait a minute, I think that this is a feature that I definitely want in a home that I'm going to buy. You might even like a layout. Give yourself some latitude whenever you're coming up with your list as to what you're looking for. So did you have any conversations with people this past weekend, like when they were saying, well, this is what I'm looking for, or maybe this was or was not on their list?
Yeah, actually, and there actually was a lady that came up with a list. She had a little notepad and she had a couple things written down, which I thought was great. I feel like that's something very important, like you just said. Write down the things that maybe even write down the things that you really love about this house, the little highlights that you have about it, and then maybe some things that you didn't like. So, for example, the house that we hosted an open house for, it seemed very, very purpose built. Like it was designed. The builder actually, which we found out later, the builder actually lived in that house for a year.
Okay.
So it seemed, and it makes a lot of sense, right? After we found that out, because it had a lot of office space. It had multiple little offices actually, so you could tell that just about every room there had its purpose and served its purpose. So there were some people that were walking in that they didn't quite like that. They wanted it to be a little bit more open or just different things. So yeah, I think that's very important to be able to take notes and just note down everything that you do like, maybe some things that you would.
Did you get any questions? Like, were there people who were asking you about opinions, or was anybody trying to get what I would say some professional advice? Were there any questions that were offered, and if so, what were they?
So there were some questions in that one particular about a room. So there was an obvious 3 bedrooms. They had a guest bedroom downstairs, and then they had the rest of them upstairs. But they had it listed actually as a 4-bedroom house.
Okay.
So there was 3 obvious bedrooms, and there was somewhat of a bonus room.
All right.
That we kept hearing a lot of questions about that. So that was the main thing that was popping up.
So question about said bonus room.
Mm-hmm.
Did it have a closet?
So it really didn't have a closet.
My toes are scrunching up.
It didn't really have a closet. That's why that was a conversation that me and Gabe had actually, like I said, when we first walked through it, that we noticed. So it didn't really have a closet. So we weren't really telling people for sure, like, oh well, that has to be the bedroom. We were just kind of basically just, I would definitely, and I actually did end up letting that listing agent know later too that came up a lot, just to kind of keep her updated and keep her involved.
I think that's important to let the listing agent know that, and I think that it's important for our listeners to know that whenever you have questions about a house and you're in there, ask the agent. Now, I want to take a second, because I teach real estate to agents as well. Do note that if you are a buyer in a open house and you do not have representation from a buyer's agent, that's something that you need to be looking to secure relatively quickly, because every agent represents somebody in a transaction. So if they're engaged in that property, they are most likely representing somebody in that property. So what you want to do, is you want to talk to that agent and say, is there a way that you can represent me in this transaction? And you might say, well, I don't know if I'm ready for that kind of relationship yet. But the fact of the matter is you want to know who they are in a relationship with. And so I'm just trying to throw my listeners a little bone there. Folks, know who people are working with and where they're at and where this information is going. But feel free, ask questions. Let them give you information about the property, and talk to them about the buyer's agency and what you need to do to be fairly represented by somebody. I think that's so important. Other things to be looking at during these open houses are, what are some potential challenges that could come up with said properties. Those are things that you need to be taking note of. Uri was talking about, this lady that came in and she had her notepad ready to go. Take notes on notepads. Have that list that you're going to keep going back and forth with. Ways to assess the value of the property. Now, Uri and I have talked maybe a little bit about CMAs, but there's something out there called a comparative market analysis. And what you're going to want whenever you're going into a property and you really start to get serious about it is you're going to say, what is a good market price for this house? And so you're going to take the sales of other homes that have been in the area, and with that, you're going to find out what kind of price you need to be paying for this house. Now, I'm going to refer back to what I just said about agency. This is why you need an agent going to bat for you, because they have all the tools to do this. If somebody comes to me, in fact, I've had somebody yesterday pop into the office and said, "Hey, can you do a CMA for me on property?" It's a client of mine, and I said, "Sure." So, and it's easy for me because I put in a few things in the queue there, and out pop my numbers, and I can tell you what it should be. You need somebody to do that for you on a CMA. The other thing is like spotting red flags here. So when you're going through the property, what are some red flags that you might see? And are there any concerns that you can address? Now, there are a couple ways that you can do this. Uri, what do you think? What are some ways that people, when they see red flags, what are ways that they can alleviate those later on? Do you have anything?
I mean, I would say it'd be important to write down any concerns that you may have whenever you are walking the property. That way, you can always ask the agent that's on site there, maybe what their opinion is. But I think that writing down anything that you do know would be a great way just to kind of keep that with you, so you don't ever forget it. That way, you can always speak to somebody and try and work something out there.
That's right. And two, keep that list, because let's say you end up making an offer on that property and you're going to get an inspection on it. Provide that list to your inspector and say, as I was walking through the property, these are some things that I saw. Could you look into them a little bit further for me? And then after that, because you're under contract at this point, you've got the inspection. Note, too, that these are all items that you might be able to use for seller concessions later. Like if you go into it and you're paying your own closing costs, when you start negotiating this is something you could say, hey, we note that the roof and the HVAC, while they work now, they are a little bit older. Would you guys be willing to pay $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 of our closing cost? Because we know that we need to pocket that money or keep that money in pocket to come back in a few years and replace those items. And so there are ways that you can spot those red flags and then actually even use them later for negotiation in a process there. And then I think we've got a couple more points here, but networking with other buyers, and I'm going to ask you about this in just a second, but there's two mentalities that I see, whenever we're talking about networking with other buyers. First of all, hey, we're going to meet these people and we're going to chase them around the same open houses for the next 3 weeks. So we need to get to know the family. We're all in this boat together. We're all looking for a property. But frankly, I think the other one for me is let's sniff out the competition. Because you're going to be chasing these people around open houses for the next couple of weeks till you put an offer in on something. And these are the people who are looking at the same houses you are. So you might start digging, and I'm not saying be a nosy neighbor, but these people are competing against you, and that's why I love this business. I love competition. And you're getting to meet these folks, and hopefully the open house people are, basically taking care of you, like giving good snacks or food or cookies or maybe wine or champagne. I don't know. I mean, hey, let's throw a good open house if we're going to have one. And you've got all these folks who are coming into this house with you. Hey, have some good conversation. Wait a minute. What? These people are going to be pretty competitive. These people, they're kind of flaky. So, maybe they've got a good poker face. Get to know the competition. So, network with other buyers. Have a good time. The home buying process should always be fun. Find an agent that makes it fun too. And then lastly, kind of summing everything up, some strategies, your toolkit, have your notepad, have your list of things that you want that's somewhat malleable, that you can change. And then 2, make sure that you're taking notes, get to know the buyers, and have a good time. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to give the folks?
No, I mean, just take advantage of the open houses. I mean, it's a great way to, in my opinion, to meet some of the agents and just get a feel of what you're looking at, actually be able to walk in the house that you've been seeing online.
That's great. Guys, hey, it's always a pleasure speaking to you, whether it's YouTube or here on the podcast. If you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. My personal number, 501-764-6847. You want to give your personal information in case they want to call you?
Absolutely. My phone number is 501-298-9749.
And one more thing before we go, and we pointed this out in the YouTube yesterday, there is a special talent that my good friend Uri has, and what is your ability that you could do?
Well, I speak Spanish, actually.
So Uri speaks fluent Spanish. If you know folks that need somebody that speaks Spanish, please feel free, give him a call. And thank you again for tuning in today, and we will catch you next time.